Do you know that procurement is crucial in achieving our society's collective vision of a strongly rooted, comfortable, and secure life in the Philippines? Hello everyone, I'm Billy Bayong. Let me show you how our Procurement Policy Board innovates, adapts, and responds to our changing needs to enhance the procurement system and help the government work for us. An efficient, transparent, and competitive procurement system connects every Filipino to vital services from the government. This can help move more people out of poverty, gain access to better education, receive quality healthcare, and enjoy economic opportunities. These yield greater trust in government institutions and bring the country closer to achieving its national development goals. The Government Procurement Policy Board focuses on simplifying various processes to produce more successful procurement that contributes to the effectiveness and efficiency of the government. The board employs strategies to identify needs and implement projects. It refines and calibrates procurement policies, adjusting to emerging trends based on needs of procuring entities. It creates ways to capacitate practitioners to better manage their procurement processes, monitor effectiveness of our procurement systems, and it adapts to the times, especially during national emergencies. The GPPB has strengthened the procurement process at the earliest stage, the planning phase. The board has issued bidding rules responsive to new laws and policies set by the government. GPPB has also streamlined the bidding process through the use of technology. GPPB has introduced guidelines to ensure timely procurement, especially during a national emergency. GPPB Technical Support Office pioneered initiatives to better assist procuring entities. Simple and competitive, transparent and accountable, monitored by the people. These make for an effective procurement system, responsive to the needs of the people. The GPPB, adapting, responding, innovating for nation building. To know more about procurement, visit gppb.gov.ph.
Bakit hindi siya
The Philippines is going to buy green. Our government is taking the lead. The Philippines Green Public Procurement Roadmap guides the way forward by considering local business capacities, climate, environment, health, and value for money. Our government procures thousands of items every year to serve the Filipino people. When government is the single largest buyer in a market, its procurement decisions influence the direction that businesses take. Green public procurement is about buying products which are low carbon, are healthier, avoid harmful chemicals, and are manufactured through cleaner processes. They are efficient to use and consume less energy and water. At the end of life, precious materials are recycled. GPP reduces the pressure on the environment.
Recording in progress.
GPP is a partnership between the government and businesses. GPP opens up new, exciting, and reliable opportunities for businesses supplying green products. This in turn makes green products also affordable for private households. A first batch of 20 product categories has been prioritized for GPP, and more will be selected over time. The priority common supplies and equipment products are multi-copy paper, toilet paper, record books, cleaners, chairs, disinfectant sprays, trash bags, liquid hand soap, detergent powder, and LED lights and bulbs. The priority non-common supplies and equipment products are computer and laptop monitors, air conditioners, vehicles, fridges and freezers, copiers, paints and varnishes, food and catering services, training hotels and facilities, toilets and urinals, and textiles such as uniforms and work clothes. the well-established public procurement processes in the Philippines, such as the PhilJobs, will ensure fairness, transparency, and open competition for the green venture. Everyone can become an active consumer of green products, which save energy and water, are not harmful for health and climate, and which are recyclable.
Let us all stand for the singing of the Philippine National Anthem to be followed by the invocation.
Noon pa man, malaki na ang naging bahagi ng mga kababaihan sa lipunang Pilipino. Kaisa sila sa marubdob na paghahangad ng kalayaan ng ating lahi. Kabilang sila sa paglinang ng ating makulay na sining at mayamang kultura. Kasapi sila sa pagtataguyod ng mga adhikain ng kapwa mamamayan at sa pagtugon sa mga pangangailangan ng lipunan. Katuwang sila sa pagtuklas sa mga larangan ng agham at medisina. Kapanalig sila sa pagpapairal ng batas, karapatan at katarungan para sa lahat. Kabahagi sila sa paglilingkod sa bayan at sa pagpapanatili ng demokrasyang Pilipino. Sa paglipas ng panahon, hindi nagmaliw ang kanilang pag-ibig sa ating inang bayan. Mga kababayan, ito ang alay ng mga kababaihang Pilipino para sa bayan. Tumayo po tayong lahat at sabay-sabay nating awitin ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Ayang pag-ibig, dala sa silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dilim mo'y buhay. Lupang hiniram, dulatan ng pag-ibig, sa manlulupin, di ka masisingil, sa lahat ng tulog, sa sino at sa langit mong babang, may ginagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang isang ng patawad mo'y tagumpay na nabinigin, ang ituwing na araw na kailan pa may madilim. Lupa ng araw ng walhati pagsipa, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Ang higaya na pagpay makakamit, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Sa ngalan ng Ama at ng Anak at ng Espiritu Santo. Amen. Panginoon, pinupuri ka namin at dinarasal. Salamat po sa iyong paggabay sa bawat araw na nagdaan at sa lahat ng biyaya na iyong ipinagkaloob. Dalangin po namin na lagi niyo kaming bigyan ng kalakasan upang patuloy naming magampanan ang aming mga gawain. Punuin niyo po ang bawat isa sa amin ng pagmamahal at katapatan sa paglilingkod sa iyo at sa aming kapwa. Alay namin sa iyo ang katagumpayan ng lahat naming gagawin. Ang lahat ng ito ay aming idinadalangin sa pangalan ng Panginoon naming tagapagligtas. Amen. Sa ngalan ng Ama, ng Anak at ng Espiritu Santo. Amen.
We welcome everyone to the fiscal year 2023 Procurement Forum Part 2. Ano ang bago sa government procurement? Alamin na this. Brought to you by none other than the Government Procurement Policy Board Technical Support Office. At this juncture, please be advised of our house rules. First, register your attendance through the link shared in our Zoom chat. Please be advised that the entire session is being recorded. Microphones shall be muted throughout the entire session. Questions shall be gathered through the Zoom Q&A facility, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live comments section. Only related questions shall be accommodated by our panelists. Please also be advised that advanced questions shall be discussed first before the live questions. The filtered questions shall be read by the moderator and shall be flashed through a slide deck. To begin, allow me to introduce our moderator for today. Our moderator obtained her master's in public policy in the Graduate School of Governance Studies in Meiji University, Tokyo, as a recipient of a scholarship grant of the government of Japan through its JDS program. Prior to that, she finished her undergraduate Bachelor of Arts degree in the Cebu Institute of Technology in 2002 and Bachelor of Laws degree in the University of Southern Philippines in 2008. She was then admitted to the Integrated Bar of the Philippines in 2009. In the same year, she started her journey in the public sector as local government operations officer and was promoted to regional legal officer, attorney 4 of the Department of the Interior and Local Government Regional Office 7, Central Visayas. Currently, she is the Chief of Programs and Policy Coordination and Monitoring Division of the Department of Trade and Industry, Construction Industry Authority of the Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our moderator, GPPB recognized trainer, Attorney Aiza Fiel Arsenal.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the second installment of the 2023 Procurement Forum. Today, we will have very interesting topics like ano nga ba ang mga bago, no, when it comes to the government procurement. So here we have already registered participants. May we remind everyone to make sure that you have registered through the Google Form attendance sheet, no, as provided to you by the GPPB-TSO Secretariat. And you are also encouraged to post your questions, which our panelists will answer later on. So for now, as most of you, we will have an evaluation of this training in the LTMS at the end of the event. So certificate of attendance will be provided to you after you accomplish the attendance and the evaluation. So we will also accomplish the survey and the pilot testing of the revised and automated procurement forms, which will later on be discussed to you by our distinguished panelists. So I hope we will focus our attention to the discussion and also to be on the forefront, no, of these new innovations and government procurement of our government. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I welcome you to this activity. Thank you very much. Our next part of our program, of course, Ms. Monica. A moment.
Yes, thank you very much, Attorney Aiza. We would also like to thank everyone who are joining us today through our Facebook Live and YouTube Live broadcast. No, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat, and thank you again very much for joining us today. You may also you may also join us by dropping in your questions through our comment section, and pipiliin po namin yung mga questions po that are related only to our module session. Ayan. All right, so at this juncture, to officially welcome all of us, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Executive Director of the Government Procurement Policy Board Technical Support Office, Attorney Rowena Candice Ruiz. Ayan, while we wait for our executive director po, no, just a gentle reminder, we have dropped the link to our attendance for today. Please be advised po, no, that this is very important for you to register your attendance because nakasalalay po dito yung provision natin ng certificate of attendance. So again po, just please click on the link and then register your attendance today. So once you're done with that, okay na po tayo sa isang requirement for our certificate of attendance. Ayan. And so again po, no, for all related questions, please drop your questions through our Q&A facility para po sa ating mga Zoom participants. And for our Facebook and YouTube live broadcast, drop your questions through our comment section. So again, related questions lang po ang amin pong i-accommodate for today. I guess we're ready. Once again, please welcome our Executive Director, Attorney Rowena Candes Ruiz.
Thank you, Monique. I hope you're hearing me all right. And a pleasant morning to all of our participants in the second part of this year's Procurement Forum. It is indeed a great pleasure for me to welcome you all to this year's Procurement Forum. In pursuit of our commitment to continuously innovate and respond to the evolving needs of our stakeholders, we have stepped up once again this year and presented our annual Procurement Forum in two parts. The first phase was held in collaboration with the Department of Budget and Management, and this was held at the Philippine International Convention Center, where we provided highlights not only of the updates on our procurement rules, but also of the many reform initiatives that we have been implementing. But of course, we made sure to supplement and complement this with learning materials that were exclusively provided to our registered participants. But I'm very certain na bitin kayo. You wanted to know ano nga ba ang bago sa procurement. Kaya alamin na this. So as we open the second part of the fiscal year 2023 Procurement Forum, we encourage you all to ask questions and freely share all of your thoughts and ideas so that we may be able to address issues and concerns effectively. Would of course like to hear from you as well as to have an equal standing in today's discussion. To this end, we at the Government Procurement Policy Board Technical Support Office are most grateful for your continued support as we journey together towards a more responsive, agile, and sustainable public procurement. Truly, together, we can make things happen. Again, maraming salamat po at magandang umaga sa inyong lahat.
Thank you very much. That was our Executive Director, Attorney Rowena Candes Ruiz. So once again, we welcome everyone to our part 2 po no, ng fiscal year 2023 Procurement Forum. Ano ang bago sa government procurement? Alamin na this. Now, just a gentle backgrounder po, no, recognizing the importance of informing procuring entities of the recent issuances, tools, strategies, and other related topics on government procurement, this year's Procurement Forum is especially crafted for procuring entities in collaboration with the Department of Budget and Management. The highlights of the procurement updates were discussed during the fiscal year 2023 Budget Forum last 26 to 27 January at the Philippine International Convention Center. The inclusion of procurement as one of the topics during the event served as the introduction for today's second part of this year's Procurement Forum. Now, in case you missed po, no, the highlights of the procurement updates during part 1, we have provided all confirmed registered participants with the learning materials to prepare all of you today. And so at this juncture, allow me to introduce our panelists. Our first panelist is a certified public accountant who started her career in the government as a supply officer 4 at the procurement service of the Department of Health. She used to be a lecturer at the Informatics International College, where she handled various subjects on accounting. In 2014, she joined the GPPBTSO as Procurement Management Officer 4 and was assigned under the Performance Monitoring Division, where she monitors the implementation and validation of procurement reports. Currently, she is the Officer in Charge Division Chief of the Performance Monitoring Division A of the GPPB PSO. Let us welcome Ms. Carla Portugal. Our second panelist is a civil engineer in profession and a real estate appraiser. Aside from her works as assistant director, she is also involved in the training programs of the Commission on Audit as resource persons on laws, rules, and regulations on government expenditures, property, plant, and equipment, appraisal and disposal, supply and property management system forecasting, inspection, guide in the audit of procurement, geotagging, and Republic Act number 9184 and its IRR. She participated in the preparation of guidelines and courseware for the audit of public procurement for ASEAN. She has been awarded with Gawad Kahusayan Praise Regional Level. Year 2017 of COA Regional Office 4A, Quezon City, Philippines. She is nominated in the search for 2019 Outstanding COA Officials and Employees, Gawad Kahusayan. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome GPPB recognized trainer, Engineer Maria Cecilia Alonzo. Our third panelist holds an arts degree in interdisciplinary studies from Ateneo de Manila University. He earned his law degree at the Arellano University School of Law. He is the head of the GSIS Bids and Awards Committee Secretariat. And prior to leading the Secretariat, he was a member of the Legal Services Group of the GSIS. Before transferring to GSIS, he held the career position of Director 3 in the Legal Office of the President with CESO Rank 4. He was also a member of the OP-BAC TWG. Let us welcome GPPB recognized trainer, Attorney Alan Dexter Macaraig. Our fourth panelist is a graduate of Bachelor in Political Science from the Polytechnic University of the Philippines. He started his career in government procurement as a Bids and Awards Committee Secretary at the National Commission for Culture and the Arts in 2018. Then later became the head of the procurement section of the same agency. Pursuing his career, he joined the Government Procurement Policy Board Technical Support Office in 2020. Currently, Procurement Management Officer 4 under the Legal and Research Division, and a current member of the Bids and Awards Committee Technical Working Group of the GPPB-TSO. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Mr. Gilbert Quaresma. Our fifth panelist is a professor in various law schools handling political law and business law subjects, and a former reviewer of licensure examination for teachers. For more than 2 decades, he has been handling locally and internationally funded government projects as a legal, procurement, administrative, and financial advisor and consultant to various government institutions or agencies. He earned his degree of Master of Laws and has undergone extensive training on practical project management in global market with focus on government infrastructure project, a joint program of JICA and ASEAN Institute of Management. He served as a procurement specialist in WHO Global Fund, ADB, and UNDP funded projects. Let us welcome GPPB recognized trainer, Attorney Lawrence Villanueva. On to our sixth and final panelist. She is a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Accountancy from St. Louis University and of Master in Development Management from the Development Academy of the Philippines. As a certified public accountant, she entered the government service and started as a budget management analyst at the Department of Budget and Management, Cordillera Administrative Region. From then on, she rose from the ranks and currently occupies the Director 3 position. She has attended various learning and development activities on public expenditure management as well as public financial management for both national and local government levels. These include trainings on the procurement guidelines, rules, and regulations. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome GPPB recognized trainer, Assistant Regional Director, Marie Christine Andaya. At this point, allow me also to recognize Deputy Executive Director, Attorney Maria Dionisio Rivera Guillermo. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us today. Again. So I believe we are all ready to proceed with our advanced questions, to be followed again by the live questions. All right. I'm turning over to Attorney Aiza. Simulan
Yes,
na po
thank you, Miss
natin.
Monique.
All right.
Can you hear me? Earlier, I was wondering if I have technical problem again. So thank you for taking over. At this point, of course, I don't know if you have access to the programs, but we are starting with the first topic, of course, with Miss Carla Portugal, our dear recognized training, who will discuss for the automation of procurement programs. No, so the AVP. Our advanced questions will follow. Okay, is EPCPI already considered, included, and integrated in the automation of procurement reports? Only PPMP, APP, and PMR were mentioned in the AVP. So I'm sure our dear panelists can answer this. Is APCPI already considered, included, and integrated in the automation of procurement reports? So far in the AVP, only PPMP, APP, and PMR were mentioned. We call on for Ms. Carla. What's her take on this?
Hello and good morning, everyone. Thank you, Attorney Aiza. So for the question of whether APCPI is already included or considered in the or as to be integrated in the automation of procurement reports, of course, APCPI is considered to be included in the automated system. However, since we are revising the procurement report forms, particularly for the project procurement management plan, annual procurement plan, and procurement monitoring report, the APCPI indicators and some indicators are expected to be revised and updated as well. So in that case, our target to incorporate the revised APCPI in the automated system will follow in the later phase of the implementation of the automated system.
Okay, that's actually a good thing, no? So it just indicates, based on answer of Miss Carla, that there will be also a revision. So that this APCPI will be properly incorporated in the in consonance to the automation of our procurement forms. So there's nothing to worry for our procurement practitioners. There's also another question, Miss Carla. I'm sure you can also address this. Is the use of automated procurement forms mandatory, or is it still optional on the part of the procuring entities?
Hello, and thank you po ulit for the question. So to clarify po, no, the automation of the procurement reports is still undergoing po its development. So for now, wala pa po talaga tayong automated system. But if the question pertains to whether once na operational na yung system natin, it will be mandatory for all the procuring entities. The plan is, of course, gagamitin siya lahat ng procuring entities. But syempre, since meron tayong phasing for the transition, we consider or we understand na hindi lahat agad makaka-comply with the automated system. In that case, we will be implementing the automated procurement reports gradually po. So later on din naman, once for implementation na to, we will be issuing guidelines for that para nang sa ganun, guided po lahat ng procuring entities natin. Thank you po.
Thank you for that answer, Miss Carla. That's quite a good update din, no? Kasi most of us are excited also in the automation based on some procuring entity feedbacks. They really look forward na ma-automate na to kasi nga hirap din sila with the changes. They keep on following up. What are the changes? They're always doubting if they're using outdated forms or something. So it would be good if automated na, and then everyone is guaranteed na yun nga, updated yung mga forms nila, and it will be also in uniform and standardized with the other government agencies. So also there's a question here. How about po yung agencies with DMS system, yung may document management system and are ISO considered compliant with their procurement processes? Will the automation forms po ba disrupt, or is it integrated already? Do they have to, di ba kasi they already have document management system, they already have ISO compliance, and then there will be automation of forms. Would it be considered a disruption, or it can be integrated in these systems? What do you think po?
Ayan, sige po. I know po no that there are lots of procuring entities who are able to automate their own processes na rin po, especially when it comes to the preparation of various reports, including yung mga procurement reports natin. So, hindi pa natin siya masasagot for now if mai-integrate siya or if it will disrupt yung current system ng mga procuring entities. Pero siguro isa sa mga dapat natin i-consider dito is that we are revising the content of the revised of the procurement reports din natin. So in that case, possible talaga na magkaroon din ng changes dun sa mga existing systems na meron na sa mga procuring entities. So in that case, baka might as well makita natin na mas beneficial or advantageous, mas madali or mas convenient gawin for us na i-adapt na natin agad yung automated system once na nandyan na rin siya. But I cannot categorically answer po agad, no? Kasi, pero don't worry kasi isa naman po yan sa mga kino-consider natin na may mga existing na pong systems yung mga procuring entities natin.
That's a good answer, no? Thank you for clarifying po that. Kasi there are also apprehensions how it will affect their existing systems. Sige, thank you po, Ms. Carla. How about the other panelists? Do they have their take also on this? I'm sure their respective agencies also have the system, ISO compliant, also with DMS system. Is there any similar concern to this? Oh. I think so. Wala, no? So, okay, we will go through some of the questions that are posted also. Is the use of automated? I think, is there any other question that is being asked in the OTMS?
Let's have the next slide, Attorney Aiza.
Yes po.
Ayan. Let's move on po to
online
our
subscription na
next
tayo.
module, Attorney Apa.
So wala masyadong question pala sa automation of forms. Well, maybe because ano din siya, looking forward pa po tayo doon, no? So
Yes, sir.
maybe some questions.
Yes, ma'am. Maybe later po sa atin pong live question.
Uh-uh.
I'm seeing questions na po in our Q&A facility. So later po, we will filter those and then we'll discuss po after this session, yung ating pong advanced questions natin. But at this point, Attorney, let us move on to our second module, which is online subscription.
Yes, for the online subscription, there are questions regarding payment of credit cards because online subscription, it's actually for those purchases made paid with credit card. But there are questions, whose credit card will be used? How about where mode of payment is credit card, but through Dragon Pay, PayPal, or other e-wallet facilities? Are these considered okay for online subscription?
Okay, good morning sa ating lahat.
Good morning po.
Can you hear me?
Engineer Alonzo, yes, I
Yeah,
can hear,
okay.
we can hear you po.
Doon sa ABP and referring to Annex H on online subscription, payment for online subscription can only be made through direct electronic payment using credit card subject to the issuance of a certification by the HOPE or his or her duly authorized representative stating that this is more expeditious and inexpensive inexpensive mode of payment in accordance with the Commission on Audit Circular number 2021-014. So naka-align naman din itong provision na ito doon sa COA Circular. So sabi nga doon sa COA Circular 2021-014 dated December 22, 2021 on the guidelines on the use of electronic collection and on the e-collection and electronic payment for government transactions, particularly item C 5.3.5 guidelines on the use of credit cards. Sabi nga doon sa second paragraph, use of credit card shall only be resorted to, sabi ko nga sa inyo, naka-align doon sa Annex H. So yung use daw ng credit cards is to be in no other modes of payments are more expeditious and inexpensive. In such cases, a certification from the head of agency or representative shall be executed attesting to the circumstances. But before this paragraph, sabi nga doon sa first paragraph doon sa item C, no government entity may be allowed to use credit card to pay for the government transactions unless they can be reasonably protect such use against misuse or misappropriation. Documentation of internal control for this purpose shall be submitted to the audit team leader concerned for evaluation. So medyo sabi natin ang medyo hindi kayo it is not clear enough. So as to the COA is still in the process of ensuring the widest dissemination thereof, as well as capacitating both the COA auditors and audited agencies regarding this COA circular, where a briefing training for sub-purpose are still being conducted. I will not be discussing details of this COA circular today. At any rate, I can give you the email address wherein you can ask questions also and request for a briefing for more authoritative information in details. So ito po yung ipopost ko po dito sa ating chat, yung ating email address. So support.mikael.portal@coa.gov.ph. And then also, nandun naman din sa COA circular na doon sa last paragraph ng COA of that circular, this yung number 6, saving clause. That circular is issued to facilitate online transaction. Para nga naman din naka-align doon sa GPPB resolution on online subscription. Cases not covered of this circular may be referred to this commission through the systems and technical services sector for resolution. Again, I will be giving to you the email address where you can ask questions also and request for a briefing on this. That's all, Attorney.
Thank you, Engineer Alonso. I'm sure there will be a lot of emails that will be coming to
Yes.
that. No, baka I'm sure mayroon ding mga tanong na hindi related, but please let's try to minimize that, no?
Yes, yes.
Anyway, kasi
Yes.
we don't want pre-audit or something.
Yes,
Yes,
of
no,
course.
it's okay.
I agree with you. And I even asked the permission of the director of that office if I can share the email address. Siyempre kami naman din sa Commission on Audit is on the din naman din at to entertain some questions, lalo na kung it is related to the COA issuances. Again, thank you, Attorney, for reminding that na I'm here as your representative under the GPPB resolution. I just shared some portions of that COA circular. And then again, I will be sharing with you the email address where you can request for a briefing and ask questions regarding that circular. Thank you, Attorney.
Thank you, Engineer Alonso. And also we have another question po, if you may. Magbigay
Yes,
na
go
kami.
ahead.
So this is also about the reimbursement when it comes to the use of personal credit card. Is it allowed if the end user use their personal credit card for the procuring entity to reimburse it. Kasi we have reimbursement rules, diba? But if they
Yes.
use their credit card, a personal credit card, for this type of transaction, purchase, so how it will be dealt with by the procuring entity?
Yes. May I refer to you again dun sa COA circular. Nandun naman yung apprehensions on the using the personal credit card. Nakalagay dun sa instructions doon sa 5.3 na letter C. Sabi nga doon, may I read it here? Yeah. So any questions regarding it nga dun sa COA circular, you can refer it. Sabi nga doon sa letter C na as I have mentioned, use of credit card shall only be resorted for other modes of payments are more expeditious and inexpensive. As mentioned also doon sa doon sa GPPB resolution on online subscription. So reiterating the provision ng COA circular at saka noong GPPB resolution.
Sige, we will make sure to check on that. Then I'm sure
Yes.
it's very helpful. But I think we missed one slide, one question pa po. Parang may isang question na dumaan kanina na I missed. It's about the increase, how to do this, like, how, kasi diba, the regular and negotiated procurement, direct retail purchase, which is related to this online subscription, ang common niya is 1 million yung threshold, but it can be increased to
Yes.
5 million. But how is
Yes.
it done po? Is it through a memorandum by the Hope, or a backward solution? Or is it just, you just change it in the APP directly? Kasi di ba doon naka-identified yung mode of procurement natin sa APP. So how is it done po?
Okay,
Yung
thank
increase
you.
of limit.
Okay. As mentioned doon sa ABP ni Attorney Pasensya, doon sa online subscription, 'di ba? Hanggang 1 million lang, and then it can be up to 5 million. So sabi nga doon sa Annex H, wala naman sinabi explicitly on the provision on the revision ng ABC kung ito nga ay hanggang more than 1 million. But referring to yung ating basic requirements pagdating doon sa formulation or sa crafting ng ating APP. So referring to 7.2 of the 2016 IRR of RA 9184, yung basic requirements natin, no procurement shall be undertaken unless it is in accordance with the approved APP, including approved changes there. Kung yung nag-crop up yung change na yon is meron na tayong APP. So kung meron man changes, then we need to amend the APP. The APP must be consistent with the duly approved yearly budget. Another reminder for all of us as procuring entities, and shall bear the approval of the Hope or second ranking official designated by the Hope to act on his behalf. And then in the preparation naman ng APP, the respective end user or implementing units of the procuring entity shall be responsible for the changes to the PPMPs, while the Bids and Awards Committee Secretariat shall be responsible for the consolidation of these PPMPs into an APP, which shall be subject to the approval of Hope. Kaya nakikita natin doon sa Annex H na laging merong subject to approval ng Hope. And then among the data needed, if you still remember the procurement planning natin, needed in the PPMP is the estimated budget for the general components of the contract. Marami pang mga information needed for the PPMP. Pero lahat ng information nito is a result of a market research. This is just a review. And then secondly, referring to Annex H under the online subscription, may I quote here, justification shall be provided by the end user and its need to directly purchase a specific online subscription to the Hope. Ito yung mga requirements for the end user. Thus, the end user shall submit a report indicating that no local provider is available and prepare comparative matrix and evaluation showing that the preferred specific online subscription is better than any other similar online subscription available locally, or that there is no suitable substitute in the local market that can be obtained are more advantageous terms. So going back to sa procurement planning, this is the result of the market research. Thank you, Attorney.
I thank you, Engineer Alonso. At least that's being clarified, no? Because some people might, some stakeholders might mistake it might have this mistaken idea that because there's already online subscription, they don't need to go through the same process. It's still the same process. It's just that this is another mode of procurement being provided for the procurement entities, no? So that's clear. Thank you, Engineer Alonso. Is Miss Portugal still on the line? Kasi there are questions po sa live na baka pwede po ninyong masagot. Miss Carla, or we will just go back.
Yes, Attorney. We will first discuss po muna itong mga naka-flash
yung mga
ating
advanced
slides.
questions.
Yes, the advanced questions. And then we'll move on to our live questions
Okay,
after
sige,
this.
Miss Carla. So for those who have sent their questions sa chat, just wait for it. Sasagutin po namin yan later. We will just go first with the advanced questions. Thank you. And of course, our next topic also, this one is quite new and quite controversial to some because they are not sure if they are prepared. But of course, Attorney Alan Dexter Macaraig, our recognized trainer, will answer some of the questions that is maybe bothering you regarding e-bidding. So, Attorney Macaraig.
Yes, good morning.
Yes. Hello po. Good morning. There are questions po regarding e-bidding, which I'm sure you can address po. So ito po, it was mentioned in the AVP that the full target implementation of MPhilJEPs will be on the third and fourth quarter of 2023. So right now, papasok na tayo sa second. Are the procuring entities po ba kaya are ready for this, or is the market ready? Baka both procuring entities and the market, the suppliers, potential manufacturers, are they ready for this po?
Well, there's a planned rollout that is based on the GPPB approved transition plan. So the readiness of the market shall be reckoned from the result of the pilot implementation as assessed by the PhilJEPs. So we just have to bear with the ongoing improvements being implemented by PhilJEPs, and in due time we will be able to achieve full implementation of MPhilJEPs.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Macarig. At least that's clear, no? There will be a pilot implementation muna. It's not gonna be that lahat kaagad we are all required to go e-bidding na, because some people are even still training their people, no? Their back para with regards to RA 9184, tapos ipo-forward na ba daw sila sa e-bidding kaagad. So nothing to be scared of. So yes. There are other questions, advanced questions provided for e-bidding. Yeah, I think on the card it's just here being flashed. So I think they don't have a lot of questions yet, as maybe they're waiting na lang pag mag-start na siya. So thank you, Attorney Macaraig, for addressing that question. We will proceed with the topic on green public procurement. No, Attorney Lawrence P. Villanueva, Mr. Gilbert Quaresma of the GPPB will answer that for us, because this one is also new and there are curious questions to this, how we can adopt green public procurement in our respective procuring entities. So there are questions advanced. Can you show to us? So what is the tentative rollout of GPP? Just like the e-bidding. Ano po yung tentative rollout ng GPP po, Mr. Quaresma? Sir Gilbert?
Hello, good morning, Attorney Aiza. Siguro brief background lang din on the green public procurement. Kasi since 2013, the Government Procurement Policy Board has already supported its implementation in the Philippines. And in 2017, the Government Procurement Policy Board approved the adoption of the Philippine Green Public Procurement Roadmap and the technical specifications for the prioritized common use supplies and equipment, and for the non-CACs as well. And then it has been followed. So the GPPB has been rolled out already to answer that question. And then the prioritized CSEs actually for the GPP are being procured by the procurement service, since they are the one tasked to procure yung common use supplies or yung CSEs nga natin. And then for various government agencies who have been buying these products from the PS are already adopting green public procurement in itself. And then for the non-CSEs, based on the APCPI answers from the procuring entities, they said that they are also implementing GPP na in their procurement projects. So in terms of GPP, siguro being mandatory across all procuring entities, we are looking at 2025, although that's hindi pa sure talaga kasi in 2024, right now we tap certain agencies to conduct pilot implementation on the first set of priority group products. So that's going to run until 2024, then maybe 2025, depending on the result of the pilot implementation for the GPP, baka maging mandatory in 2025, but that's tentative pa.
Wow. 2025, parang kailangan na nating magmadali sa mga trainings din natin, no? Because it seems procurement service is already doing this. And in fact, we benefited already with GPP. But I think there will be questions also regarding on the readiness of our procuring entities the moment we expect it from them, not only from procurement service. So the next question po, can the GPPB TSO, how do we encourage a green market to prosper where the standard for awarding of contract when it comes to goods and infra is still lowest calculated and responsive bid? So since diba yung goods ang awarding natin is lowest calculated and responsive bid, how do we encourage the market to go green? Because I'm sure it will add cost. So paano po yan, Mr. Gilbert?
So in doon sa plan natin. So we said kasi dun sa AVP na that the government is the single largest buyer in the market, having trillion of budget, no. And with the government giving preference towards green products, we will encourage the market to adapt to the demand and produce more green products to supply the needs of the government. And in connection with the standard of awarding the contract to lowest calculated and responsive bid, we have to remember that we still observe transparent, fair, and competitive process in the green public procurement through the avenue of the green technical specification. So in public bidding, when we are procuring green items or green products, we have to include na yung green technical specifications for that. So nagko-comply pa rin naman dun sila sa technical specifications na included na dun sa usual process natin. So wala naman masyadong bago in terms of green public procurement, but we just have to look for products that have lesser impact on the environment.
Okay, I understand, Mr. Gilbert. So dapat din pala yung mga procuring entity natin, yung mga end users, they will be able to come up with their own green tech specs para ang market din mag-respond. Kasi if not, then it maano talaga sa regular. So I hope the trainings for that will come soon, no? So para naman by 2025, handa na tayo. So are there any other advanced questions for green public procurement? Oh, so we don't have a lot of questions kasi nga, di ba, it's still in the process. So hopefully, it will be done before 2025. Yung mga tanong, ma-address din siya. So for procurement agent, we have here Attorney Lawrence Villanueva, the distinguished recognized trainer, no, na sobrang tagal ito. Marami din itong masishare sa atin. Sir Lawrence, regarding procurement agent, there are a lot of questions even in our regular trainings on this, no? Parang minsan ang tagal nating makakaahon sa discussion. There are also advanced questions from the audience regarding this kasi 'di ba, it's very commonly resorted to by some agencies who are not confident with their own ability, no, to procure their needs. So, may mga advanced questions po tayo. Baka naman po ma-address natin, matulungan natin yung mga concerns na ito. Next slide po, Ms. Monica. Yeah. So, after the issuance of the notice of award, will the procurement agent still be involved in the implementation of the contract? Kasi diba typical, the back only from the time of advertisement up to the time of recommendation for notice of award, and after that it will be the hope who will take over, no, in the notice to proceed, in the implementation. But however, with this setup na mayroong tayong procurement agent from another agency, not necessarily yung entity na may need, after the issuance of the notice of award po, what will be the role of the procurement agent? Will they still be involved in the implementation of the contract?
All right. Now, take note that the concept of procurement agent is one agency who does not have the proficiency or the capability to procure. They will get the services of another agency, qualified agency. Now, the question is, what would happen in the event that you have a procurement agent after they recommended the award? Once the recommendation to award is approved and a NOA is issued, in my own professional view and following the principles now provided to us by the GPPB, the role of the BAC will end. The role of the procurement agent shall not go beyond the awarding of the contract. It shall not include contract execution. It should not include anymore the delivery review of the delivery and the approval of payment. That is a no-no in this concept of procurement agent. Now, there are contracts already executed with those provisions. The GPPD would not be making any comment on those because this procurement agent is controversial. We have last week, it's a headline in the news that officers from DBMPS and the Department of Health, RITM, were placed on preventive suspension. So those ongoing contracts, we let the court resolve it. But prospectively, if an agency would get a procurement agent, the role of that agent would be confined or limited to procurement alone. In fact, the guideline provides that the role should be those enumerated in Section 12 of the revised IRR, functions of the BAC. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
But Attorney Lawrence, we have to admit that aside from the usual procurement function of the BAC, they are also playing different roles. Ang regular BAC ng isang procuring entity, they play different other roles outside of the procurement flow chart itself. For example, if there is a ground for termination, merong blacklisting ground for termination, tapos yung ground is that thing which happened during procurement process or kaya during blacklisting process. O kaya meron ding live contracts with stipulation that the procurement agent shall act as a co-hope. Parang meron siyang co-hope na duties. What will happen po with the procurement agent po? Gaano po yung extent ng function niya kung ganitong may mga cases of blacklisting, termination, or also when there's live contracts, yun nga, sila yung co-hope. Paano po yun?
All right, now, we have to qualify the guidelines proposed or being crafted by the GPPB provides that it should be the role of the BAC, the procurement agent shall play the role of the BAC as mentioned in Section 12 of RA 9184. Now, we have to take note that there are other functions of the BAC enumerated in RA 9184. We have Section 35, insofar as the power to declare failure of bidding, which was expanded by the GPPB. Now, ang question is, what about during contract termination? Now, we have to qualify. Blacklisting, that was the question. Now, blacklisting is of two types. There is a blacklisting during the bidding process, in which case the BAC may pose as the investigating unit and they will have to recommend still sa principal na procuring entity, not the procuring agent. Not during the contract implementation, no na ang BAC dyan. It should be the hope, the procuring entity, and not the procurement agent that shall resolve issues concerning termination of contract, provided that the BAC or the procurement agent may still be may serve as a technical expert, but not as adjudicators of the issues. Thank you.
Okay, kasi para klaro lang po kasi minsan kala meron na kaming resolution to award the contract or we're already hands off. Tapos the issues that are involved in during the blacklisting process and determination puro naman related sa mga procedural defects during procurement process or kaya yung mga violations during procurement process na later lang na-discover. So at least po, klaro po yan, babalik po talaga, tatapusin ni procurement agent ang role niya as a BAC pag may mga ganitong instances.
Basta ang cut-off, we have section 23.6 of RA 9184.
Contract
That
implementation.
section 23.6 speaks of continuing eligibility check. If prior to the issuance of notice to proceed under section 23.6 of the law, there were changes in the capability, there were misrepresentations committed by the bidder, the procurement agent posing as a BAC may still take cognizance of the issues and the case. Thank you.
Okay, that's very clear, no? Thank you, Attorney Lawrence, for that clarification. So, hindi pa hands off, ha? Totally yung back. Meron pang mga tatapusin if the law requires. So, next po, meron din po tayong question. Is there a possibility po that a guideline in the computation or determination of service fee can be issued? Kasi may mga mag-issue na lang ng paano ba i-determine yung service fee? Just like the yung sa mga bid forms, di ba? Yung mga pagbili ng mga bidding documents, merong yung honorarium, there is a guideline. How about yung sa service fee po?
Now, service fee, I would have to refer to the procurement agent memorandum of agreement with different agencies. We have Department of Public Works and Highway as procurement agent. We have BBMPS as procurement agent, Philippine International Trading Corporation as procurement agent. Now, this will have to be, in the service fees will have to be integrated in the MOA. There should be no execution or procurement through procurement agent unless the trigger document, which is the MOA, is properly entered into. Now, if the procurement agent has the authority to collect service fee, now the amount should be agreed upon by the procurement agent as well as the procuring entity. I remember before in 2007, 2008, our agency fee or service fee is within the range of per percent. And in our MOA before, and do not, I'm not saying that this is the guidelines now, upon issuance of notice of award, we can collect the 2% of that 4%, and the remaining 2% should be upon full payment, meaning full delivery and acceptance. So that was the service fee. But take note, the requirement now is that the procurement agent must have the authority to collect or to charge service fee, and it should be properly stipulated into the contract or in the memorandum of agreement. Now, in the service fee, you have to specifically decide as to who shall inure, for example, forfeited bid security. Now, you have to decide on who should it be, the procurement agent or the procuring entity. Forfeited performance security, if in the event na meron siyang failure to accept or to deliver. And then yung mga payment of non-refundable protest fee, this should be stipulated already in the memorandum of agreement. So those are the service fees. In fact, in the memorandum of agreement, we encourage the procuring entities who would like to secure the services of another procurement agent that once the MOA is signed, there should be an attached milestone or timelines so that you could measure the proficiency of the procurement agent. They have to indicate when should be the pre-procurement conference, when should be the advertisement, when should be the pre-bid conference, submission and opening POSQA up to the issuance of NOA, notice to proceed, as the case may be. Those are the salient features of the memorandum of agreement. So thank you, ma'am. So those are the issues on the service fees.
So basically, it's very important, and it's very important then for the procuring entity, no, not just to turn over all the functions to the procuring agent, but to make sure that the MOA that they will enter into will cover all these terms. Hindi yung parang, oh, I'll just hand it over to the back of the procurement agent and we will just wait for them to give us kanino i-award to. There is a big responsibility in the preparation of all this. That's why the MOA should be carefully studied before these agreements are being signed to. Thank you for bringing that to our attention, Attorney Lawrence, the importance of a carefully crafted MOA kasi most often dyan po nagkaka-issue between the procuring entity and the procurement agent kasi hindi malinaw sa kanila yung terms ng agreement nila. So thank you po for bringing that to our attention. Are there any other questions regarding procurement agent po sa advanced questions? Okay. So, Attorney Lawrence, thank you. Standby lang pa tayo. Meron pa tayong mga live questions, ha? Baka mas marami pa yan. And for our next panelist, Director Marie Christine Andaya on the regular and recurring service. Hi, ma'am. Good morning, Director.
Good morning to everyone. Good morning.
May mga tanong din po dito kasi most of current entities, we have regular and recurring services and there are issues also on this. So we have advanced questions that you would like to read po. Baka ma-address nyo. How many renewal po is allowed when it comes to regular and recurring services? Ilang beses ba tayong magre-renew ng mga regular and recurring services?
So yung ating first question is, ikini-query nila kung ilang beses. So actually po sa ating proposed guidelines on the renewal of regular and recurring services, there is no definite number of how many times you can renew your contract. Kasi po, it will already depend on the procuring entity's requirements or needs. So malamang gusto niya i-renew lang for the first time or for the second time. So actually, ang may limitation tayo is pwede natin i-renew yung contract natin. However, subject po to the condition that the total combined period covering our original contract plus yung renewal natin and plus any extension of our contract shall not exceed 3 years. So for example po, yung original contract natin was 1 year and you intend to renew it for 1 year, then you can renew again for another year for the second year. So in that case, twice mo pwedeng i-renew. Kasi yung original contract mo was 1 year, yung first renewal was 1 year, and you are only limited up to 3 years in total combined contract duration. So you are only limited up to the second time. However, in case na gusto mo i-renew yan in a shorter period, so meaning every 6 months gusto mong i-renew. So you have 4 times actually to renew that contract. Combining the total, the first original contract of 1 year, plus yung every 6 months na renewal, which is 2 years, so that would equal to 3 years, which is our maximum na duration for our original contract and renewal. So yun po.
So, bale, yung timeline lang talaga ang nagpo-provide ng possible na period na maximum. Pero yung how many times you can renew, hindi po siya nilalagyan ng limit.
Yes, yes.
So, klaro po yan. Kasi there are also questions, how many times can we do this? Especially in LGUs po. Some agencies, parang konti lang din naman yung naisip nila na nagpo-provide ng service. So, minsan pa ulit-ulit talaga. Diba? It's not common for some LGUs na may mga janitorial or security service. So, anyway, thank you for that clarification, Director Andaya. And how about, is there other question? Meron pa ba tayong mga tanong? Meron pa. Who may expand po ng list ng regular and recurring service? Kasi we have enumeration, di ba, in DBM Circular number 70 in 2017. Pero what are these regular and recurring services? Pero sino po ang pwedeng mag-expand ng list? Is it exclusive to DBM or the procuring entity itself by reason of their own familiarity of their own needs, pwede nilang i-expand yan on their own.
So, actually po, yung ating GPPB guidelines on this renewal have already expanded po yung definition natin ng regular and recurring services. So, hindi na siya limited doon sa definition under the DBM National Budget Circular number 570 series of 2017. So, under these guidelines to be issued by the GPPB, it may already include po. So, when we say regular and recurring services, it would include already those services which by their nature are deemed essential, indispensable, or necessary to the day-to-day operations of the procuring entity. Or pwede rin po, study dito that pwede rin yung mga services that are procured repeatedly by the procuring entity in the last 3 years. So actually, na-expand na yung definition natin. So once na issue itong guidelines na to, pwede pa rin yung ma-expand yung ating definition. So pwede yan sa issuance of any amendment sa ating DBM circular or pwede rin nakalagay po yan sa ating provisions under the general appropriation.
Oh, okay. So there are so many ways to expand it. It's not limited. In fact, the GPPB already, as mentioned, already expanded that list, no? So, yun nga po, tama po, by the nature of their mandate, yung nature of function nila. Some agencies have peculiar functions, so they can actually expand that, di ba? Through their GAA, pwede din doon. Then ipapasok po nila. Tama po ba ako, Director Andaya?
Yes po. Kasi different naman procuring entities have different requirements din. So pwedeng sa isang procuring entity regular sa kanya pero sa other procuring entity hindi regular. So you will be guided with the definition under these guidelines kung ano yung magiging regular na services that you are to procure.
Okay. So, klaro po yan. Hindi ito tayo maging problem yan kasi meron naman din palang discretion ang part ng procuring entity in identifying what is their regular and recurring to them para maisama nila, no? So, thank you, Director Andaya, with that clarification. Do we have other questions pa po? Yes, on the ABC. Is there a threshold amount po ba for the ABC of procurement on these types of services? Kasi pwedeng regular and recurring services siya identified, but maybe on the next year na mag-renew sila, kailangan nang i-increase yung ABC. So is there a threshold amount po ba? Or is this limited up to a certain amount lang? Yung renewal of regular and recurring services.
Under these questions kasi tinitingnan natin yung threshold as to kung i-renew ba natin yung contract, magkakaroon ba tayo ng amendments, contract amount. So one of the conditions kasi under these guidelines is, yes, you may amend the contract amount. However po, yung amendment contract amount shall not exceed po yung threshold of the procurement modality that you have employed during the procurement of such services. So for example po, yung original contract was procured through, sabihin na natin, small value procurement. Di ba kasi sa small value procurement, meron tayong threshold na up to 1 million applicable sa atin for NGA. So kung NGA ka, you have only up to 1 million. So for the renewal of contract, if you intend to renew your contract, you are allowed up to 25% of the original contract. However po, yung increase in the amount and in addition to the original contract amount shall be within the threshold of the applicable modality, which is the 1 million threshold for SCP. So yun po yung limitation natin. However, kung yung original contract natin was procured through competitive bidding, then wala pong threshold na sinasabi. Ang magiging threshold na lang natin is yung 25% of the original contract. Ang pwede natin i-amend sa ating contract amount.
So, may I repeat it again, Director Andaya? So, wala talagang threshold amount when it comes to ano ang pwedeng i-renew na regular and recurring services. It will depend on the modality of the original procurement po.
Opo, yun po.
And also, if in case it's competitive bidding, yung original na procurement mode, then yung 25% po na In case pwede po natin. Sige,
Yes.
klaro. Thank you for that, Director Andaya. Any other panelists here who also have their own answer or maybe addition to the explanation? No, because we also have this live questions, no, regarding to the topics that are discussed today. So our panelists are ready to answer them, I believe. No? So for a live questions, ano po to? In automation of procurement reforms, ito. Carla, so what do we expect? When do we expect the final PMR?
Hello po ulit and good morning. At the moment po, yes, at the moment po, we are on the stage of finalizing the revised procurement reports po, which includes the PMR. It is important to note, however, that the revised form shall be implemented along with the automated system. So for this, we expect to have the pilot implementation by hopefully po next year in 2024 po. So we will be issuing a guidelines naman po for such. So ano na lang po, antabay na lang po sila.
Okay, so wait and see pa muna tayo ha. Wag muna tayong excited. Si Miss Carla, mapipressure po dyan. So, any other live questions from the audience? Yan. Fix po ba ang date of submission ng mga report na ito? APCPI, APP, PMR, and PMR. CPMR maybe. In the future, ganun din po ba in case na mag-iba po ang schedule? Pwede bang masendan kami through email para ma-inform po kami kaagad? Miss Carla, I also have something to say about that. Actually, pwede po kayo mag-subscribe sa gppb.gov.ph if you want to be updated. But Miss Carla, any answer to that?
Yes, that's very true po, no, Attorney Aiza. Yes, we have specific deadlines for the submission of procurement reports. Lahat po yan, para sa information and guidance po ng lahat, can be found po sa GPPB Circular 02-2020. So kung hindi pa po tayo aware kailan yung mga deadlines ng submission nitong reports na to, then you might want to check out that issuance po. In case na magkakaroon po tayo ng changes sa schedule or sa deadlines po natin for the submission of procurement reports, once na i-implement na po natin yung automated system, don't worry kasi syempre naman po, we will be disseminating the information to all of you. Unang-una, katulad na rin po na sinabi ni Attorney Aiza, which is through posting in the GPPB website. And hindi lang po doon, we also post po through our social media accounts. So kung hindi pa po kayo nakasubscribe, subscribe na po kayo sa amin. Don't worry din kasi as you requested, we are actually sending emails through RSS feed. So kung hindi pa po kayo nakasubscribe, pwede po kayo mag-visit sa website natin and then click subscribe lang po to receive yung, hindi lang po for the deadlines po, no, or changes in the deadlines of submission of procurement reports, but for any updates in the procurement rules for any new issuances po na nire-release po ng GPPB. Aside from that, nag-i-issue din po tayo ng anticipatory NPM and advisory. So please be sure lang po to regularly check our website. Thank you po.
Thank you for that, Miss Carla. So follow na po kayo sa Facebook account po namin, sa YouTube account, and also in the website, you can just leave your email address and you will be keep updated po. Especially for back secretariat heads and also the back chairmans. Kailangan po talaga updated tayo dyan. So other questions from the audience? On online subscription po, Engineer Alonso, this is your turn.
Yeah.
Your turn, time to
Good.
shine. Just want to clarify kung ang end user po ba yung mag-prepare ng comparative matrix, particularly for online subscription? Because we know, of course, ang end user mag-prepare ng PPMP nila. How about po the comparative matrix of different online subscription?
Yes, thank you, Attorney Isa. If you still remember doon sa GPPB Resolution 2022 na na-integrate na rin doon sa IRR of RA 9184 na to reiterate, to visit the gppb.gov.ph. Nandun ngayon yung recent nila na updated na handbook on IRR of RA 9184. Explicitly stated then sa procedure and then under the online subscription na ang gagawa ng matrix ay end user together with the report. Diba? May I read? Justification shall be provided by the end user on its need to directly purchase a specific online subscription to the home. So together with the report indicating that no local provider is available, kasi ito nga yung requirement, dapat may justification na walang available na service provider locally. I can start now daw my video. Yeah. Thank you very much. Naka-disable kasi yung aking video kanina. So again,
virtual background.
yeah. So yun nga, again, it is the end user. Sabi nga ni Attorney Ayusa kanina, let's relate it to the procurement planning. Ang ating online subscription is include lang siya one of those alternative method of procurement. Thank you.
Sige, thank you po, Engineer Alonso. Klaro yun ha. The online subscription does not create its own process. It's only an additional mode. Pero we will still follow with the regular planning process for you to be able to purchase your direct retail purchase by online subscription. So
Yeah.
just want to, ayan po, same pa rin po yung question. And e-bidding guidelines. How about naman po ito yung e-bidding guidelines? Kanina, isang question lang kay Attorney Macaraig. Siguro damihan natin ngayon. So sir, once the e-bidding is implemented, are we still allowed to do the traditional bidding procedure? Traditional, siguro yung may box-box.
Yeah. Well, we have to understand yung ating when we started shifting to the electronic platform. The provision on electronic bidding has been there in the IRR since 2009, if you recall, and not up until the pandemic ayaw pa nating mag-shift. So initially there would be some apprehensions, but slowly we shifted to online. We've encountered difficulties, and we're still continuing to improve on how to address difficulties on opening bids electronically and the like. Now, once we get to full implementation, then we will no longer be allowing manual bidding. Kasi yun nga yung thrust natin in shifting to digital platforms to fully automate our bidding process, to avoid yung physical interventions. So if we are able to achieve that, meaning we reach full implementation stage, then we have to shift to e-bidding fully.
Oh, so that means the respective backs of different procuring entities should step up. We cannot regress from this. E-bidding is the future. So hindi pwedeng sabihin natin, we're not ready, because someday it will be required for all of us na talaga to adopt with the e-bidding process. So mahirap na i-insist natin that we will stay with the manual, tapos not preparing ourselves, and when the time has come na kailangan na siya, mandatory na siya, wala na, nagkakagulo na. So, for those procuring entities, it's also a time for them to examine, di ba, Attorney Alan, na it's time for them to examine their own systems, how they can be ready for the e-bidding process. Sige
Yes.
po, salamat po for that. It's an parang eye-opening siya. Let's get ready na pala. Hindi na pala ito maiwasan. So, how about the in green public procurement? There are also questions from the live audience on this. Sir Gilbert, ito, for green public procurement, I saw the specifications for identified items for GPP. Should the bidders meet all specs indicated in the recommended green PP specs, or can it be okay, or is it okay to meet some of the specs only? Pwede po ba yun?
Sige, Attorney Aiza, no? And thank you dun sa nag-ask ng question kasi talagang may mga clarifications na kailangan gawin on this matter kasi minsan iniisip ng mga end users or procuring entities na baka optional yung specifications once they included that in their procurement, no? But to answer, before we answer the question, we have to give muna yung context siguro on the green criteria. So we have provided na rin kasi yung green criteria or specifications for the prioritized CSEs and non-CSEs to help the procuring entities in procuring this product. So published siya doon sa website ng GPPB. However, itong mga identified criteria, pwede naman siyang i-adapt ng PEs, but they can also identify their own green technical specifications. And to answer the question, no, once we included kasi this green criteria or once we adopted this green technical specifications as part of our regular technical specifications, similar na siya dun sa usual process natin, no. It forms part of the technical specifications na pinapublish natin sa bidding documents natin. Therefore, mandatory siya na dapat i-comply ng mga bidders. Attorney Aiza, nakamute ka po ata.
Okay, thank you for informing. Parang ang reaction ko agad, oh, all but some. Hindi ko nakita, wala pala akong mic. Oh, so, all talaga, Sir Gilbert, not some lang, pipiliin lang. Sige po, thank you, klaro po yan. So, for the regular and recurring services naman, ito, sana maraming tanong para matuto din tayo lahat, no? So, for the renewal of regular and recurring services, can we renew the contract to another 3 years? Do we have to secure MYCA for this?
So in this, yes. So thank you, Attorney Elisa. So, ito po. So sabi niya kasi parang can we renew the contract for another 3 years? So in this case, na-exhaust na niya yung 3 years niya na combined duration, di ba? Yung original contract and yung mga renewal contract. So sabi nga natin kanina, you have only up to 3 years kasi na limitation. So kung na-exhaust na yon, you need already to conduct another procurement for these services. Kasi hindi ka na pwedeng mag-renew kasi na-use up mo na yung 3 years. So, do you need to secure MICA? Dito po, clarify na sa guidelines natin that the procuring entity actually has the option to either secure a MICA, yung ating multi-year contracting authority or its equivalent, if they opt to have their procurement or their services be procured under a MICA. Or you may procure yung using itong guidelines na to on the renewal. So, kung renewal po yung gagamitin natin, then there's no need for you to secure the MICA.
Kanina naklaro po natin na walang limit sa renewal and also now for renewal, it's clarified also na kailangan nating mag-secure ng MICA. Tama po ba, Director?
Ma'am, I think attorney yung sa MICA is option po yan ng procuring entities.
Yes,
kasi separate guidelines. So separate guidelines na kung MICA yung in-opt ni procuring entity, then the guidelines on the MICA would prevail. So kung renewal yung gusto ni procuring entity, then the guidelines on the renewal of this contract for these services would prevail. So option po.
The guideline still applies po kahit
Yes.
regular and recurring services. Thank you po, Director Andaya. So, other questions? So, can we add supply of fuel as regular and recurring services? This is considered as essential, indispensable, and necessary in the day-to-day operations. That's interesting, no? Because we have actually a separate mode for that. But anyway, Director Andaya, on POL?
If we apply the definition, sabi nga, nakikinig sila. If we apply the definition, di ba, of regular and recurring services, magpo-fall talaga yung fuel. If ang natin is parang more on goods kasi ang fuel, di ba? Hindi siya services actually. So parang hindi siya magpo-fall dito sa sinasabi nating regular or recurring services. So we have actually, sabi nga ni Attorney Elisa, a separate guidelines on the on the procurement of yung petroleum oil and lubricant. So pwede siyang competitive bidding or yung negotiated procurement. So I think po kasi fuel is more on goods, so hindi po siya services. So hindi siya covered itong guidelines natin in renewal.
Okay, so klaro po, advice din sa ate ang mga back practitioners, no? Kindly explore lang din different modes of procurement available. Marami naman po talagang different types of modes of procurement sa alternative. We don't need na ipasok dito kasi nga sabi ni Dr. Andaya, this is services. Iba naman yung sa goods, no? So there are also alternative modes of procedure for that, for POL. So yun po ang titingnan natin. Thank you, Director Andaya, for clarifying that. No, na service ito. We're talking about service, not goods. So next po na questions. Ang dami-dami. Kaya po ba natin to? Oh, yes. Wala na tayong questions, I think, from the live audience. I think it's time already for us, no? It's only up to 11:30 tayo. Please don't forget po to evaluate this activity po in the GPPB LTMS po. We remind you, all participants here, for you to get your certificate of attendance. Kindly fill up po the form, evaluation form. And also those na hindi pa naka-attendance, sana naka-attendance kayo. Sayang naman yung presence nyo dito. And thank you. We go back to Miss Monica. Miss Monica.
Attorney, I think there are few more additional questions from our live audience, and I guess meron din po sa ating Facebook Live. So let's just share po our deck. Konti na lang po ito.
Sige po, no.
Ayan. Ayan, so while we wait for our slide decks, may we please remind our Zoom participants po, no, so to again click on our attendance link. Yun po ay ipinost po namin sa ating Zoom chat and sa atin pong Q&A facility. Ayan, just please register your attendance because yung provision po ng ating certificate of attendance ay nakasalalay po sa ating attendance accomplishment. All right? So let's proceed to our more live questions, Attorney.
More live questions po. An e-bidding guidelines. Ito, Attorney Makaraig, we call upon your expertise once again. Akala mo, tapos ka na, no?
So, sana ako.
Hindi pa. So, does the e-bidding daw po ba include also alternative mode of procurement? E-bidding, does it include alternative mode of procurement?
Okay, well, we know electronic bidding, so we will be shifting to the electronic platform. So the norm would eventually be, generally, we proceed with electronic bidding and we resort to alternative methods, diba? So alternative methods would include other than electronic bidding, but we have to wait for the guidelines, no, when it comes out. But that is just parang an anticipation of how things would be. For those alternative methods that can be conducted electronically, then we can proceed. Some agencies were able to post-qualify and do site inspections electronically, diba? Through Facebook Live or through video conferencing. So I suppose that would be applicable also for our procurement activities. So let's just wait for the final guidelines to be issued by the GPPB on how to go about alternative methods in view of electronic.
Yeah, thank you, Attorney Makaraig. Actually, I'm also wondering about that kasi meron tayong isang alternative mode of procurement which still requires bidding, di ba? Yung limited source bidding. So I was also wondering, how about limited source bidding? Can it be also included? But anyway, we will wait for the guidelines. Tama nga po, we will wait for the guidelines for now, whether or not kasama ba tong alternative modes of procurement sa e-bidding. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney. Other questions from the audience? Ang iba dito nasa Q&A, ang iba naman pala nasa Facebook Live. So for procurement agent, okay, what's the difference po between procurement agent and negotiated agency to agency? Attorney Lawrence, paki-distinguish po yung what is procurement agent as against a negotiated agency to agency.
All right. Now, in order to make distinction between procurement agent and negotiated under agency to agency or government to government, if you look at the history of RA 9184, in 2007, it was first included in Section 53 as negotiated procurement. In Section 53, Paragraph E of 4th edition of the IRR, both A to A, meaning agency to agency, and procurement agent were included in one paragraph. It was included in one paragraph. I hope I could share my screen so that you would see it. Am I allowed to share 3 slides lang po ito so that you would know? Because in the latest IRR, moving forward, in the 2006 revised IRR, take note from 2007 up to and until the enactment of the 2016 revised IRR, nandun siya either Section 53 Paragraph E or Section 53 Paragraph 6, meaning negotiated procurement ang concept niyan. But now, it was part of procurement planning and budget linkage. Bakit, ang tanong niyan, bakit naging procurement agent, hindi na siya under sa negotiated modalities of procurement? Take note, this is my personal view, kasi whenever the procuring entity would resort to any of the alternative methods of procurement, there must be a back resolution. Diba? Under Section 12, the back shall recommend resort to alternative methods of procurement. Kung wala kang ang back, wala kang kaya. So these are one of the issues na ina-address nito, kaya MOA ang kailangan ngayon. Hindi na yon. So, ang agency to agency, dalawa yan. Pwedeng if you would get the services of DBMPS, agency to agency yan. Pwedeng sila ang bibili sa'yo or sa kanila ka bibili as supplier on record. PITC, paggamot, ang tawag yan agency to agency. Pero pag procurement agent, one procuring entity has no provisions or capability to procure, lack of manpower, you will request another agency to buy for you. Yan ang procurement agent. You will get an agent na bibili para sa'yo. Pero yung G2G or agency to agency, wide range ang definition yan under section 53, yung negotiated modality of procurement. So in short, itong procurement agent now was transferred to Section 7.3.3 of RA 9184. Nailipat siya. First time na nailipat yan. But originally, nandun siya sa negotiated procurement. And yung agency to agency, I agree, negotiated yan. So magkakasama yan, nakabundle siya sa 53 paragraph E in 2007 and 53 paragraph 6 ng mga subsequent revisions of the IRR. So ngayon, ang procurement agent is a totally different animal. It should be covered by a memorandum of agreement. Kasi nga, wala nga back na magre-recommend ng alternative method of procurement. But, ang isang dapat i-look out dito, sa guidelines natin, dapat competitive public bidding, kaya kukuha ng agent. Pero may added clause na available alternative method of procurement. And in my view, if, for example, small value procurement, pwede naman yan within the agency na lang. It could be assigned or delegated to the unit or to the end user or to whatever committee other than that of the back. So, hindi na natin dapat isama yon. And if you will get a procurement agent para lang bumili ng direct contracting, in my experience when I was at GPPB, it's a no-no. We will only accept to get the services, meaning to render services to other procuring entity if it is through public bidding. Kasi kung negotiated naman or any of the alternative na, hindi na. Except for two-pill bidding, except for for limited source procurement. Yun po ang aming concept yan. So yun lang ho. So magkaiba ang negotiated, nandun siya sa section 53. Ang procurement agent, from 53, it was transferred to section 7. It is a totally different method of procurement covered by a memorandum of agreement.
Okay. Attorney Lawrence, thank you for clarifying to us what is procurement agent and negotiated agency to agency. Pero ngayon ko lang po talaga nalaman na G2G pala ang tawag mo dyan. So sige po.
Glory to God.
Okay. So, sige po. Thank you. At least klaro yan sa atin ha. Still, kahit sa procurement agent, default pa rin. The general rule applies. The default mode is still competitive bidding. And there are other modes also that you can think of instead of going immediately with the MOA for procuring a procurement agent. Pwede pa niyong ma-explore yung ibang modes. So for other questions, may mga tanong pa po from the audience in Facebook or in our Zoom. So sa regular and recurring services, marami talagang tanong. Director Andaya, sana po hindi pa po kayo pagod. So what kind of services and modes of procurement that you're allowed to use in the renewal of service of contract? Ano po yung kinds of services daw po? Parang ipapa-enumerate po talaga nila.
Sige. I think yun din, na-clarify din kanina, those, ano yung mga services na pwede mag-fall under this. So yung mga services as defined under DBM NDC 570, which include yung mga janitorial, security services, or mga telecommunication requirements, or yung supply of drinking water, and rental of office space, venue, and equipment. Or yung sabi ko kanina, which by their own nature is essential, indispensable, and necessary to the day-to-day operations of the procuring entity. Or it would include services that are procured repeatedly by the procuring entity in the last 3 years. So ano yung tanong pa niya dito is ano yung mode of procurement? So ano yung applicable na mode of procurement? So kaya nga sabi natin kanina, depende po yan in the procurement of the original contract. Ano yung sa tingin ng bakit the most applicable na mode of procurement in the procurement of these services. So wala pong limitation. So we go back again to the parang general guidelines natin on the applicable or appropriate mode of the procurement of these services.
Okay. Director Andaya, so klaro po yan ha. The kind of services it's already enumerated, but the modes of procurement po, hindi po siya nililimit natin kasi there are still a lot of modes of procurement available to you. Hindi po ibig sabihin na because this is renewal of service or contract, limited na kayo sa ganito. It's not the same as shopping na kailangan may previously talaga bidded siya. No? So that's it for the regular and recurring services. Are there other questions relating to other topics or regular and recurring? Ito pa po, Ma'am, Director Andaya. What if the contract duration for security services is 3 years and it's already maximized, but the award of the contract to a new SP was delayed? Allowed po ba yung month-to-month contract extension until a new NTP is issued? Month-to-month po, contract extension.
Under the guidelines kasi, sabi ko nga, yung 3 years the limitation natin, it includes already yung mga periods for our extension. So kung na-maximize mo na yung 3 years, hindi mo na siya pwedeng ma-extend for another or more than 3 years. So in this case po, kailangan talaga ng back to plan ahead yung procurement nila if makikita na nila na ma-maximize na nila yung limitation natin na 3 years. So categorically, hindi na pa pwede kasing extend itong contract na to kasi na-use up na natin yung 3 years na limitation natin.
Okay, so I think that would be our last question for today. Last na po ba ito? Meron pang mga naiwan, hindi nababasa. Miss Monica, kindly.
Yes, attorney, I believe that was our last question na po. So, ayan, thank you very much po, Attorney Aiza, for moderating our session. No? And of course, to our unparalleled panelists, thank you very much, Miss Carla Portugal, Engineer Maria Cecilia Alonzo, Attorney Alan Dexter Macaraig, Sir Gilbert Quaresma, Attorney Lawrence Villanueva, and of course, Director Marie Christine Andaya. Thank you all po for providing answers and clarifications po no, to all of the questions raised by our participants. We hope we provided po an avenue no, for you to be able to grasp these highlights, especially the rules and issuances that are new and are coming our way. And hopefully no, you will all be able to share these to your respective agencies from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. So if you have more questions, feel free to visit slido.com and type in hashtag FY 2023 Procurement Forum, to which the GPP BTSO will provide answers through FAQ. So again, we thank you all very much for your support towards a more responsive, agile, and sustainable government procurement. Now, before we end our session, may we remind our participants to access our GPP BTSO OTMS and accomplish our event evaluation. In addition, because your comments and suggestions are important to us, we encourage everyone to please accomplish as well the survey on the pilot testing of the revised and automated procurement forms. Ayan, all links are provided in our confirmation email sent to all confirmed participants. So that's it. That concludes the fiscal year 2023 Procurement Forum. Again, we thank you all because truly, together, hashtag we make things happen. Mabuhay and stay safe.